Kia ora koutou katoa. Welcome back to Turn 4. This is InfoJam, where we stop and update you on news and info from the past week. Leading news this week, Vodafone New Zealand is changing its name to One New Zealand, or One NZ for short. The telecommunication company is also ditching the red and white used by Vodafone globally. Instead, they will use an emerald or greenstone green. The changes will take effect from early 2023 and will also see the Vodafone Warriors become the One Warriors. And retail stores get a new look also. Although One NZ will no longer have to pay millions for Vodafone branding rights, it will continue to shell out licensing fees to retain access to the global telco's technology. The Vodafone brand has been in New Zealand since 1998. In world news, SpaceX Crew 5 have started their mission at the International Space Station. The crew of 4 lifted off into the skies from NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida in early October. One of the NASA astronauts on board, Nicole Mann, becomes the first Native American woman in space, and she's also the first woman to command a Crew Dragon capsule. Nicole is the commander of the mission and hopes this will inspire young Native American children to follow their dreams, she said. Other members of the crew include Russian cosmonaut Anna Kikina, another NASA astronaut Josh Posada, as well as Japan's Koichi Wakata. The new crew have about 250 scientific investigations planned. They will be looking at things such as growing tomatoes and carrying out some spacewalks. They will also carry out research into heart disease and microgravity, which is where objects and people appear to be weightless. From the Odd Stuff file, a British man who wore a unicorn costume to run the London Marathon earned a Guinness World Record for the fastest marathon dressed as a mythical creature for males. Jeremy Millard of Harrogate, North Yorkshire, dressed in a unicorn costume and ran the London Marathon with a time of 3 hours, 26 minutes and 38 seconds. Guinness World Records confirmed the result in a tweet shortly after the race. The previous record was set by Australian runner Alistair Keelty, who wore a Bigfoot costume and ran the Waterford Viking Marathon in Ireland with a time of 3 hours, 44 minutes and 48 seconds. Mallard said his daughter's love of unicorns inspired his costume. In sports, Max Verstappen has won his second Formula One title with victory in the Japanese Grand Prix after his closest rival, Charles Leclerc, was hit with a penalty. Verstappen won the race with ease and crossed the line ahead of the Charles Leclerc, who came a distant second place. Leclerc had 5 seconds added to his race time for cutting a corner on the final lap, which means he dropped down to third behind Sergio Perez. The race was halted after 2 laps due to heavy rain, but started again 2 hours later with drivers completing 28 of the scheduled 53 laps. Our pop culture topic this week is all about Mr. Doodle. A British artist known as Mr. Doodle has caused a viral sensation by covering his entire house in doodles. Mr. Doodle, aka Sam Cox, unveiled the Doodle House in a time-lapse YouTube video that showed the process of him transforming his house. The project took just over 2 years to cover every inch of his 12-room mansion. Cox's mansion is now covered inside and out in the artist's doodles, including surfaces such as the kitchen appliances and his bedsheets. Cox said he used about 240 gallons of white paint on the outside of his house and 401 cans of black spray paint for the outside to create a surface for his drawings, which were made with 2,296 pens. The artist said he will live full-time at the Doodle House with his wife Elena, aka Mrs. Doodle, and their dog. Finally, the value of the week this week is generosity. Generosity means giving up one's benefit for the good of others. There are times when people in your community are struggling. Whether your family, school, or neighborhood has been going through some tough stuff and that has left the whole community struggling in some way. Or there has been money issues or a pandemic. When communities are finding things hard, people within them can feel down, disconnected, and discouraged. In those times, it's helpful to find ways to be generous and see how it helps to create a better community for everyone to be a part of. When your community is struggling, being generous helps everyone, including you. We can give our time, resources, and support to those in need. When a community is full of generous people, it thrives and is an enjoyable place for everyone to live in. And a massive shout out to Otanga School in Rotorua. Have an epic day, team. Stay cool. And that's it for this week's InfoJam. If you want to know more about these stories and others like them, make sure you have a look around kiwikidsnews.co.nz and have an awesome week. And remember to tune in next week for our next InfoJam. Tā kite anō.